The storm raged. Lightning split the sky. Thunder rattled the old, overgrown road. Alex gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white. Jamie, beside him, shivered. The car, battered and old, struggled against the wind. Rain lashed against the windows, blurring the world outside.
We should have stayed at the motel,
Jamie said, her voice tight with worry.
Almost there, just a bit further.
He wasn't sure he believed himself. The map was soaked through and useless. They were lost, caught in a storm that seemed to be trying to swallow them whole. And then, through the driving rain, they saw it. A large, looming shape against the dark sky. The mansion. The iron gates were rusted shut. Alex, with a grunt of effort, managed to pry them open just enough for the car to squeeze through. They drove up the long, overgrown driveway, the mansion growing larger with every turn of the wheels. It was a Gothic monstrosity, all pointed towers and arched windows. The stone was dark, almost black in the fading light.
It's creepy,
Jamie whispered. Alex stopped the car in front of the towering oak doors. He had to admit, even in the fading light, the mansion had an unsettling aura. It wasn't just the storm or the darkness. There was something else, something cold and unwelcoming that seemed to emanate from the very stones themselves.
Let's just see if anyone's home,
Alex said, trying to sound braver than he felt. He wasn't sure he wanted an answer. The oak doors creaked open with a groan, as if they hadn't been touched in decades. The air inside was stale and cold, thick with the smell of dust and decay. Cobwebs hung from every corner, and the only light came from the flashes of lightning through the grimy windows.
Hello?
Alex called out. His voice echoed in the vast emptiness. Jamie shivered.
This place is creepy.
They moved cautiously into the main hall. A grand staircase, covered in dust-covered velvet, swept upwards into the darkness. Portraits of stern-faced men and women lined the walls, their eyes seeming to follow the young couple as they walked. On a small table, half hidden by a cobweb-covered sheet, lay a leather-bound journal. Alex picked it up, brushing the dust away. The leather was dry and cracked, but the pages inside were filled with elegant handwriting.
It's a diary. I think it belonged to someone named Emily.
They continued their exploration, each room seeming to be more neglected and decaying than the last. They found a library, its shelves still lined with books, their spines brittle with age. They found a dining room, its long mahogany table set for a feast that never came. And finally, they found the grand ballroom. It was a cavernous space, its high ceiling lost in the darkness above. A massive crystal chandelier hung in the center of the room, its facets catching the occasional flicker of lightning and sending shards of light dancing across the walls. At the far end of the room, a massive fireplace gaped like a toothless maw, and on the wall, facing the room, was a mirror. It was an imposing thing, its frame crafted from dark polished wood. The glass itself was clouded with age, but as Alex and Jamie watched, it seemed to shimmer, as if something moved behind its surface. A cold hand reaches out.
Alex, did you see that?
See what?
He felt a chill run down his spine. He had seen it too. For just a fleeting moment, he had seen figures in the mirror, dancing figures, swirling in the darkness behind the glass. As they watched, a cold wind swept through the room, swirling the dust into miniature tornadoes. The chandelier above them swayed, its crystals tinkling musically.
Alex, my hand!
Alex spun around to see Jamie staring in horror at her hand. A ghostly white hand, its fingers long and bony, was wrapped around her wrist. It was ice cold, its touch sending a jolt of fear through her entire body. The face in the mirror! With a cry, Alex lunged forward, trying to grab Jamie's arm and pull her away. But the ghostly hand tightened its grip, its nails digging into her flesh. And then, as quickly as it had appeared, the hand was gone. Jamie stumbled back, collapsing against Alex, her chest heaving.
Did you see it?
She whispered, her voice trembling. Alex held her close, trying to calm her down, but he was terrified too. He had seen the hand, felt the icy grip on his own arm as he'd tried to pull Jamie away. He looked back at the mirror, and his blood ran cold. A face was staring back at him. It was a woman's face, pale and gaunt, with eyes that burned with a cold fire. Her lips were drawn back in a silent scream, and her long black hair swirled around her head like living snakes. Trapped? Panic welled up inside him. He had to get Jamie out of this house, now.
Come on, we need to get out of here.
They turned and ran, their footsteps echoing in the vast emptiness of the mansion. They raced through the dark and dusty rooms, their hearts pounding in their chests. But no matter which way they turned, they couldn't find the way out. Every corridor seemed to lead to a dead end. Every door they threw open revealed another dark and dusty room. They were trapped. Exhausted and terrified, they collapsed on the floor of the library. Jamie was sobbing, her body shaking with fear. Alex picked up the journal, flipping through the pages, desperate for any clue, any explanation for what was happening. He found the last entry. It was dated July 12th, exactly 100 years ago to the day. "The storm rages outside," Emily had written. "The spirits are restless tonight. They are angry. They blame me for what happened. They say I brought this curse upon us. They say I doomed us all." The writing trailed off there, ending in a splatter of ink. Alex looked up. He could hear the faint strains of music coming from the ballroom. A waltz. He could almost see them, the ghostly figures swirling and twirling in their eternal dance. The storm raged for 3 days. When it finally broke, the sun rose on a town holding its breath. The old mansion stood on the hill, silent and watchful. No one dared to approach it.
The townsfolk had always given the old mansion a wide berth, whispering tales of its cursed past, of the family that had died within its walls, of the strange lights and sounds that emanated from it on stormy nights. But now, after the storm, a palpable fear hung over the town. The stories about the mansion were no longer just whispers. They were warnings. The mansion was a place of darkness, a place of evil, a place where the veil between the living and the dead was thin.
Days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months. The old mansion stood on the hill, unchanged, untouched.
The townsfolk avoided it, their fear turning into a kind of morbid fascination. They whispered about the young couple who had sought shelter there during the storm, the couple who had never been seen again. Some said their souls were trapped within the mansion's walls, forced to dance with the other spirits for all eternity. No one dared to venture inside to find out.
And so, the mansion remained, a monument to tragedy and terror. The storm had passed, but the darkness lingered, a stain on the very soul of the house. The grand ballroom echoed with the silent music of the ghostly waltz, and the mirror reflected not the faces of the living, but the tormented souls of the dead, forever trapped within its haunted depths.
The haunted mansion, as it came to be known, stood alone on the hill, a chilling reminder that some doors are not meant to be opened, some secrets are not meant to be uncovered, and some places are best left undisturbed.